Welcome to those of you who've joined us this evening for the second part of today's Praying Together in Jerusalem. For the first time, Praying Together in Jerusalem partnered with another group and did something other than pray together and learn together. We acted together, we worked together, we labored side by side with an interfaith group. It was a very uplifting experience, I would say, and we have much to share a little bit later on. But before we share our experience from today, we wanted to begin with prayer and begin also with a thought about the significance of the olive tree and olive harvest. And I've asked our regular and loyal participant member, partner, Sister Rita Kamamaya from the Sisters of Zion to open today's meeting. So over to you, Rita.
Thank you. O gracious God, we come to you in our need and pray for an end to the violence. We are one with all the suffering. In solidarity, we stand with them. We entrust ourselves to the mystery of grace and the flow of mercy. In this chaos, we choose to love. Hopefully, we are a force for good. When we ask for help, O God, we know that your grace is already at work. Shed your light upon our path so that the darkness cannot overcome it. Create harmony within us so that your energy surrounds us and brings about change. In these troubled times, may we act with courage, not fear. By allowing ourselves to be loved, along with all creation, let your love flow through us into the world. You are the God of healing. Draw us into your spirit of peace. Amen.
Amen.
The text I chose for today is chapter 9 from the book of Judges. Here we read of how the men of Shechem chose Amalek as a king. When Joram, son of Gideon, was told of this, he stood on the top of Mount Gerizim and spoke to the men, giving them a warning which was set in a parable, the parable of the trees. In this parable, the olive tree is the most honored of all the trees. Joram began, "Listen to me, you men of Shechem, that God may listen to you." The trees went forth to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, "Reign over us." But the olive tree said to them, "Should I cease giving my oil, with which they honor God and men, and go to sway over trees?" Then the trees said to the fig tree, "You come and reign over us." But the fig tree said to them, "Should I cease my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to sway over trees?" Then the trees said to the vine, "You come and reign over us." But the vine said to them, "Should I cease my new wine, which cheers both God and men, and go sway over trees?" Then all the trees said to the bramble, "You come and reign over us." And the bramble said to the trees, "If in truth you anoint me king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon." In this parable, the worthy trees, the olive, the fig, and the vine, didn't want to be king, but the unworthy bramble agreed to be king. The promise of the bramble to offer shelter in its shade was ridiculous. since the bramble is a low, thorny bush and offered no shade to anyone, especially the trees. In saying, "Let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon," the bramble warned that he would be an oppressive ruler and would destroy anyone who disagreed with him. The moral of the parable is that the weak, worthless, and wicked men who will themselves will into power, but in the end they bring ruin upon themselves and the people. I thought it good for us to hear again this parable because we are so conscious at this time of the olive harvest. Its many uses cannot be exaggerated. The olive oil was essential in the Mediterranean diet and for medicinal purposes. It was used for the anointing of kings, as well as being the base for a variety of perfumes. It was used as fuel for their lamps, as an excellent trade export, and a sign of joy in the festivals. In Psalm 55, we read, "A man's words are said to be smoother than oil, and the name of the beloved is compared to precious oil." In our prayer this evening, we are thankful to God for this prized and valued oil.
Thank you so much, Rita, for opening with a beautiful prayer and parable and message for us all. And of course, we can't help but reflect on leadership, which you also raised. We're in a very dramatic period, no matter where we are in the world. So thank you so much for that beautiful opening. Today, as you know, the first part of Praying Together in Jerusalem took place this morning when a group of us went out to participate in the olive harvest of a private, Khaled as a private landowner in the Palestinian society. And like so many others, Palestinian society has been reliant on the success of the olive harvest for years, for generations. And although the town we went to, which is adjacent to the Hebrew town or the Israeli town of Betar, but in fact it is the Arab town of Batir, you see evidence of affluence, but the affluence was and is temporary, meaning we were told that many of the new houses that we saw being built there and new commercial areas were built by Palestinians from Jerusalem who had purchased property in this town, or workers, those who worked in Israel from the Palestinian areas, and therefore had traditional family land that they didn't have to pay for, so they were able to build very nice houses, but they were reliant on their salaries from Israel. Since the outbreak of the war more than 1 year ago, there have been no salaries from Israel. The other source of affluence in that town is tourism. Since the start of the war more than a year ago, there's been no tourism. It threw them back to reliance on the olive harvest, or for so many of them. And this year we heard that it has not been an easy year either in terms of the olive harvest. So before we see more about it, and I'm going to ask Hannah, who was, I've already indicated, was with us this morning, to join me in sharing some of the reflections and commenting on some of the images. I'd like you to meet some of the people who participated in the event. So Tully's going to share her screen and we'll meet some of the people who were participants in this morning's event. Good morning. It is morning in Jerusalem, even though we'll be speaking to you this afternoon. And we have a group of people here in Jerusalem representing different faiths and different cultures and different backgrounds, all ready to go out olive picking. And I've asked some of the participants if they would mind sharing with us who they are and why they are here.
Jackie Cohen-Keshet. I'm from Beersheba and I'm from Rabbis for Human Rights. We're here today to have something to bring hope and their responsibility. Living in Israel is a blessing, but it's a huge responsibility. And we can't close our eyes. We have to see the things that are happening around us, and we have to stand up and say no when things are wrong and do what we can. There is actually with our hands and standing beside Palestinian farmers who are great dismay and worse than that, have been suffering violence here, and who are not getting as much protection from the army as they should be getting. So we're standing here today trying to make the world a little bit of a better place for them. So we're hoping that our prayers and our actions together can bring peace closer.
Hello, my name is Madeleine. I am from the monastery of Abu Ghosh, which is about 12 kilometers from Jerusalem. I am a part of the Beit Midrash of Jews and Christians together, and that's how I got the information for this journey. And we are contemplative sisters, which means normally we don't go out of our monastery. But in these times of war, of difficulty, of hatred, we decided to participate in this journey to give hope to each other.
Yeah, I'm crying. Hi, my name is Moore. I'm from the West Bank. I live in a settlement outside Jerusalem. I do what I can in terms of activism. It's just the only thing that helps me stay sane throughout this war. And it's really nice to be here among friends.
Hi, I am Alan. So myself, I'm very new in Jerusalem, but feel very happy to go today to keep the olive. Some friend told me about this event, so feel very, very glad to give some hope, some help, some light in the darkness that we have now. And so it's a very good occasion, and I hope I will have a very beautiful time there.
My name is Oded. I'm here to pick olives with the Palestinian because I'm a human being and I'm doing for another human being, and it's a privilege for me.
Hi, my name is Ilana Nelson. I'm a Jerusalem resident, and I'm here with my friends to pick olives and as a sign of sisterhood and brotherhood with all of our neighbors.
Thank you. Sisterhood, brotherhood, and many of you who are praying together in Jerusalem might know that Ilana has been with Praying Together in Jerusalem, I think, since the beginning. We have been going for 9 years already. Can you believe it? 9 years. And of course, I'll invite Hannah, whom all of you know, and you'll hear her pray later, to say hello.
Good morning. I have to share with you the main reason that I'm coming today, because I'm not a very outdoor person, but I want to tell my grandchildren about what goes on in this country, because my daughter, bless her, she thinks that all Israelis are good and only want to do good. And why does she think that? Because she is good and only wants to do good. So I've been sending her all the information, and I hope that this will be a little seed that I plant today. Please God, inshallah.
Thank you. And I think that's a beautiful way to finish this first section, the idea of from seed to picking a seed, and we're going picking. We'll catch up again in a moment.
My name is Ilse, and I'm with the Olive Harvest in West Bank. And it's not my first time here, and it's very important to bring people together and do something, because harvest is something for everyone.
I'm Ines. I'm pastor of the German Lutheran congregation, and I'm here at the Olive Harvest to support the rabbis for human rights and the farmers in the West Bank. And I'm looking forward that we also have an interfaith prayer together to show that we as people from different religions support humanity and support human rights.
Hi, my name's Jacob. I work at Rabbis for Human Rights as a media coordinator. And I'm here today to stand in solidarity with Palestinian farmers during the olive harvest season. This year, it's been especially hard with settler violence and military restrictions. So it's really the time for us to show up and show our support and use our privilege to ensure a safe and peaceful harvest.
Hello, I'm Rabbi Sigal Asher from Rabbis for Human Rights. I came to this Olive Harvest Day because it gives me hope, because it helps me go through the difficult times, the very difficult times that we're facing. And also because I believe that being together, standing together, working together will bring us to a better place.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me to the Olive Harvest activity. It actually means a lot to me, both as a peace activist, but also as a Palestinian. As a Palestinian, Olive Harvest itself is an act of steadfastness. It's an act to show the connectedness to the land itself. We're connected to the land, but also it's an activity that brings people together. It's an act of peace to show that we are here with Israelis and Palestinians, Jewish, Muslims, and Christians doing this peaceful activity together. And it's very symbolic for me to be here today.
And Naveen, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Naveen Sanduka. I am the regional director for the Alliance for Middle East Peace, ALMEP. So happy to be with you today.
And also a regular participant in Praying Together in Jerusalem.
Regular participant. That's very true. Praying together. Very true. Yes. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anton. I am from Denmark, and I am in Jerusalem as an exchange student at the Hebrew University. And I am participating today in the Olive Harvest with Rabbis for Human Rights, because I think it's, especially in this time, very important to do activities that promote peace and reconciliation.
Hi, my name's Ira. I'm originally from the States, and I've been living in Israel about 25, 30 years. I'm here today because I'm concerned about Israel's future, and I'm concerned about the situation in the West Bank, and a lot of innocent people are suffering. And if I can do a little bit to help out, a few families in the West Bank, I feel like that little bit is little bit that I can do.
Hi, I'm Danny, and like Ira, I also come from the United States originally, and I'm here as a very basic act of solidarity with. I think we can all live together. I think we should be living together. I do quite a lot of my work with organizations that deal on other levels with peace and shared society between Arabs and Jews, and on environmental issues, and with women's groups. But this, I know I'm doing something that's very small, very basic, and shows a personal connection that I think is important. And it's a great time, great day to be out in the sun and together with people.
My name is Tamara. I just came because I want to help and Palestinians. I believe that's what we should do. And I hope that everything will be all right today, because it's not always like this. And yes, many people will join us, because only if we are a mass people, we can do a change. Thank you very much.
Tamar, have you been olive picking before?
Pardon me?
Is this the first time olive picking, or?
Yeah, I'm picking, but not with you, but with the forum.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Interfaith. I'm a secular humanistic rabbi from Israel, and I'm here to help Palestinians pick up their olives and try to live in harmony and see a better future for the two people who are both have rights and need to learn how to live with each other on this holy land. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rabbi Noam Azor. I'm a board member in Rabbis for Human Rights, and when I lived in Jerusalem, I was also an active member of Praying Together in Jerusalem. And I'm here exactly because of this. It's a combination of all the things that I care about and try to promote in our lives here in Israel. Being together, taking care of one another, working for other people, the ability to live their lives respectfully and fully and the best way that we can do. And to get to know other religions and to be together and be respectful and understandable about different views and different people and different religions. And I'm very happy that we can do these two things together to help each other out, to help other people, and to learn about other religions and do it together in an interfaith environment at the same time. May we have a happy and a good day.
Hello, my name is Nir, and we're coming to the Olive Harvest today to show solidarity, to help bring a better future, protect Palestinian farmers and families in this important time of the year.
Right. So although I apologize that some of the sound, I want to thank Tully for getting that together so quickly. She's marvelous. We couldn't manage without her. Thanks, Tully. As you could see, we had a range of people, Christians, Muslims, Jews, secular humanists, young and old, came together to do this olive harvest. Jacob, who introduced himself very briefly, took a number of photos, and I also took some, and Hannah took some. And what we thought we'd do is show you some of the photos and talk about them. And Hannah, I'm going to ask you to really unmute yourself, and I'll also be in the background while Tully's going to share the screen and show us some of the photos, and just join with me to talk about what we're seeing. Because our first scene is some of the beautiful landscape in which we're working. Tully, can we slow it down? Because I wanted to talk about the first one first. The beautiful landscape in which we were working. At the moment, it just looks there to me just so peaceful and pastoral that it's very difficult to remember that this is a zone where there is tremendous tension. Hannah, join me. Share. What would you like to say? Anything about that first beautiful scene?
What can I say? I feel that we went there, and I'm happy that we went, and it was beautiful, and it looked peaceful. But it's not. Well, somebody mentioned that last year a Jewish man set up a tent and said, "This is my land. My father Abraham walked just on this path." And it took them many months to get him away from there, didn't it? He was trying basically to take over their land.
Yeah.
So there's this undercurrent, although it looks so lovely, but there's an undercurrent of violence there. And I actually felt that.
I felt it at one moment only, and I think this is, for me, it was very interesting. Normally, when we hear helicopters overhead, in Israel, we are very proud of our soldiers, and this is a great anomaly for us peace workers, because our soldiers are our children and our grandchildren and our neighbors and our friends, and we do see the army as our defense. So on the one hand, we feel very positive, even if we are peace activists and opposed to war. We don't feel that the army is in any way our enemy or concern, unlike it's sometimes very hard for people from other societies to understand that dichotomy. that we could love our soldiers and hate war at the same time. Yeah, but that's the reality of Israeli society. A helicopter flew overhead at one point, and for the first time, I actually thought it might be threatening. And this is the feeling of Palestinians who live there. And it was quite a shock to me to have that response because of where I was and with whom I was. And I think that it did give me food for thought. So that beautiful scene, and Hannah mentioned the story of the one armed settler with no totally illegal, what they call outpost, but could keep people away from tilling their land until after I can't remember whether it was weeks or months, but after a long time, he was finally removed. But he was threatening for a long time.
Yeah, and they must have been very threatened that he would be joined by more people.
Yep. Let's go to the next slide now, Tony. Thanks. So you get a view of some of the group as we were walking. This is when we're walking down. This is already when we're walking back after the olive harvest. But there are a few things that you can note. First of all, you can see behind the modern town, which, as I said, has signs of affluence, but they can be misleading because that affluence is temporary, based on salaries from Israel, based on tourism, which don't continue. You have the, what's the word I want? Terraced landscape, which probably goes back to the Nabatean era, a very ancient era. We know that the irrigation systems were started well before any modern historians recorded, but it's a very ancient watering system. So, and you can see also there are a lot, and there are other photos as well that are going to show a lot of market gardens or gardens for sustainability, not just olives. We saw vegetable gardens, quite a few vegetable gardens that were tended by various families, probably not for commercial use, but probably to support the families themselves. Let's go to the next one. This also, that's when we're arriving, giving us some of the participants. And again, you see the interfaith combination there. Let's do the next one. We are learning what to do. Adam, who was one of our leaders today, he told a number of stories. And Hannah, do you want to tell the story? I don't know whether you were there or still coming. Oh, yes, you were there when he told the story of 1948.
No, I don't think I listened. I wasn't listening so carefully. I listened to the story about the man who lit the candle.
That's the one. That's the one.
Oh, that was later. Oh,
it doesn't matter. We're seeing him now.
So there was a man whose name I forgot. In 1948. Many Palestinians fled from their homes, and then they were not allowed to come back. And this one man had the foresight, absolutely like a divine vision almost, that he went down every night and put candles in all the houses or lights. And so it looked as though it was inhabited. It really wasn't, but it looked as though it was. And therefore, the people were allowed to sort of continue to live there, even though they probably did come back. But it was an amazing story.
Yeah, for 15 nights during the 1948 war, every night because they heard about massacres, and of course there was the Deir Yassin massacre, which did affect people, and they knew about it. But there was also a lot of rumor mongering about what the Jews might do to them. So people were fearful during the war, and they abandoned the village. They didn't move very far. And for 15 nights in a row, he went down every night, as Hannah said, and lit those lights in the windows. And
then he put them out again in the morning. Or he went back in the morning to deal with it. Can't have stayed on. Maybe they were, the lights.
So the Haganah thought that the town had not been evacuated, and they actually showed us the school where negotiations took place in 1948 along the Green Line, and that allowed that town, the part of it that was in the Israeli side after 48, to remain there. And part of it was in Jordan. And we saw the place where the negotiation actually took place. And also there's this guy, I can't remember his name either, I think it was Mohammed, but he knew Moshe Dayan. They'd been at university together in Egypt. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, again, these are some of the people from, well, you've recognized already a couple of them, just enjoying the olive tree. But the T-shirt, for those who don't read Hebrew, says, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha," love your neighbor as yourself. And when you hear Hannah's prayer, you'll see that that was a great line that we used today. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
I don't see that in the picture unless I got a small photo and there's a larger photo that my phone isn't picking
There's
up.
4 people. There's 4 people.
Oh, right. See, I can only see 3. Okay.
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 Good. Got it. Next one, please. Just 4 people cooperatively picking a low olive tree, but looking over an Ottoman era building. I don't know if there's anything I can say about that. Hannah, anything?
No.
Next one.
A teapot.
Teapot. Mohammed, one of the family members and who was also one of our, hosts there, made us all tea, which was far too sweet for me to drink. But Hannah said she enjoyed it.
It was a treat. It didn't taste like tea, nothing.
Sugar water, but he was very nice that he wanted to, typical Arab hospitality. Let's go. Next one. Again, some of the landscape, and that looks like a tree we have dealt with. I can't see olives on it from here. I'll make it bigger. No, that's a tree we've dealt with. We did a lot of harvesting. It didn't take, because we were a large group, but we managed to clear off a lot of olives. So that looks like an after photo. We have before and after. More? Next one. Yes, some of the gardens, we mentioned the vegetable gardens that were being tended. And this is this was an area that.
Yeah, I just would like to say that we went down at the beginning on a paved road, very, very, very far down. And we all said, are we going to be coming up this road? And oh my goodness. And we were carrying our lunch and water, etc. Coming up, they took us on a different route. And that's the route they took, or route that we walked on we passed by all these vegetable patches, which are so well tended. But it was a very long walk up. And I do want to share with you that both Peter and I, and also one of the nuns, I'm delighted I did it. I think my legs are going to be very sore, my muscles, which is great. It was a great workout. And also, we want to let you know that there was no toilet there. So it was a certain amount of self-sacrifice that we experienced this morning for whatever reason. It wasn't all a bed of roses. There were some thorns.
Thank you. Next photo, please. This is a typical scene. Hannah?
Well, that was just
what we did.
Maybe people who was like, I didn't go up a tree.
Nor did I. But there were plenty of people who did, and there were plenty of people who climbed ladders. And there were those of us who did the low branches and those who did the high branches. We really cleared those trees. All the olives came down. Next. And that's more our style, I think. It's not us, but it's more our style. Reaching up and picking the olives down. And you might want to see that hooked instrument there. Some of the family members who came and joined us had these very interesting hooked devices with which they could sort of pull down both the branches and also pull down some olives. But most of it's just handwork. Next. I'll be up in the tree. Okay, we'll keep going. And the sisters doing what we were doing, as I say, pulling down the branches and getting rid of the olives. And there we go. I recognize Naveen's nails. Ah, Anna, did you know you were going to be there?
No, I didn't. But that's a great photo. We look as though we're dancing, but
Yes.
I brought my kitchen gloves from Waitrose with me. Anyway.
Next.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It wasn't just the young people who climbed trees. Next. Oh, another view. Lovely. Let's keep going. We'll keep going. And we'll keep going. Oh, that was a cute photo, although I've really no idea. It's just a very clever photo, caught at the right moment. Okay. Okay, and we put when you pick the olives, of course, you put the plastic sheets underneath to capture everything. So that just gives some scene. We actually had 4 different areas, not very far apart from each other, where we picked the tree. So this is just one of the sections. And lovely. Next, more lovely. A scene of this is when we were just getting started. You see, some people were going to climb ladders. Everybody's into it. And that's yes, the 2 scoundrels. And oh, now walking back. And Hannah already mentioned we took a different route back. We saw the railway line that used to be the line from Damascus to Saudi Arabia that used to pass through Palestine, as it was known, under the British, and the Ottomans called this area southern Syria, but the British called it Palestine. And passing through that area, that's the railway line. It was very interesting. We saw a place that to the left of this photo, Hannah might not see it on her phone, but you see this interesting pipe looking thing on the left. That was actually the way coal was fed into the trains through this device, this pipe. So they were coal trains. They went from Damascus to Saudi Arabia. And that's the train line is still there. And it was actually became part of the 48 border. Okay, next.
Peter, did you get when the rail line was built, when it was actually from?
It was built under the Ottomans. I don't
Yes,
think
but that's a long period.
A long period. I did learn this once many years ago, but I don't remember, and I didn't check. The British were also very into upgrading and maintaining that same railway line and the same railway system. So I think it's probably only 19th century. But
it must have been very late 19th century.
Yeah. But that's more just a larger view of the fact that the line is still there because it is the Green Line. But part of it, this railway line is the Green Line. Let's go. Sorry, we're taking longer than one of the beautiful things at Batir is that they have a Roman pool. They have what do you call it? It's a natural spring or the Romans actually, what's the word? Harnessed, I don't know. You remember in the Monty Python show, Life of Brian, what have the Romans done for us? They were very good at building irrigation systems and harvesting the water, managing the water system. And it's very, very beautiful. And the water was fresh and cold and just what we wanted when we got there. Let's keep going. And as we said, the tourism was part of it, just some of the faces, some of the beautiful shots. Moving a bit faster now. This is out already at the Interfaith Prayers,
It's really a bad time. Can he call back in 20 minutes?
Really, these are just some shots of the prayers, which we will see in a moment. We'll see them live. And Adam finishing off, and our host, or Khaled, at whose house we had our lunch, and whose family owned the fields in which we harvested. And that's a group picture of those who participated. So thank you very much, Tali, for taking us through that. Before we we see the prayers that we all participated in. I just wondered whether anybody else in this group had any questions or comments that you'd like to share. Please feel free to either unmute and speak or raise your hand if you'd like to say anything or ask anything.
I had a question.
Yes, hi Fazia, nice to see you.
Hello, nice to see you. Well, thank you for sharing that. It really felt like we were almost there. The rail line from Damascus to Saudi Arabia, I would think is probably one of the lines on which the pilgrims on the annual pilgrimage would go through that route. I would think one of its uses. And the question I had was that do we get to purchase this olive oil that's going to be pressed out of these black olives?
Thank you. Yes, Rabbis for Human Rights are organizing that in 2 weeks' time, because the olive harvest continues for another week, but in 2 weeks' time, they will be having a market fair for the various farmers in the neighborhood to sell their produce. One of the issues is that Israelis can't necessarily go into Palestinian areas, and Palestinians at the moment definitely can't come into Israeli areas. While the war is on, there are almost no permits granted, and that's a very difficult, that adds to the economic difficulties. So there will be a farmer's market. In general, Khaled told us his particular harvest, the one we did today, is not going to be big enough to be commercial. It wasn't a successful enough one, but he will give 30 litres to this daughter and 40 litres to that son. He was telling us how he's going to distribute amongst his extended family all the olive oil. But those farmers who have had a successful enough crop to market, you are right to point out that the key is not just harvesting. The key is harvesting, then pressing, and then having a market to sell. And we will continue to support in that way as well. And there were some products for sale today from Khalid's vegetable garden for those who wanted to contribute that way. Thanks for asking. Russ, hi.
Hi, Peter. I was just reminded of a humorous episode because we took one of our continuing education program groups to visit Bitar, and so we visited the terraces and also took a little bit of a hike in the area. And our Palestinian guide pointed out the trail was marked, as trails often are, with two blue lines that will point you in the direction that you need to go, especially when there are forks in the pathway. And he told a humorous story of there evidently an Israeli soldier or commander passed through and noticed that the stones were painted with these blue markings, and he thought that for sure it had been Israelis who had painted the stones, and he was afraid they would be seen as a provocation by the Palestinians who lived in the area. So he got soldiers under his command together and had them scrub all of the stones to erase those blue lines. And so then they got a call from somebody in the local Palestinian community to ask why they had removed all of the paint, and he explained that they thought it would be seen as a provocation, that and he said, but we were the ones that painted those. We just painted it because those are the way trails are marked in Israel. There wasn't anything about the color that was meant to be political. So it was just a funny episode, and perhaps a reminder of better times and cooperation that took place among people.
And I think that by raising that, and making us smile. Not everything is about tension. I mean, today was a beautiful example of cooperation and shared civil society. And we felt a lot of that. There were many, many Palestinians who waved from their windows when they saw us coming, welcome and thanking us for being there. So it was definitely there were very positive things as well. It's one of the problems, of course, is that we can focus on the tension and leave out the attempts at shared society. So thank you for raising that. Would
And then
anybody?
after one
Yes.
final thing, after erasing all of the lines, then the soldiers were sent back to repaint them again to put things back in order.
May I just ask a question? Is the area that you covered, is it one family's ownership, or is it a variety, or how does that work? And how do you work to get folk to agree that you can come in and help them?
Okay, so today we were with Khalid's family crop grove, olive grove, that's the right word. And that's what we did today. But Rabbis for Human Rights have helped out a number of families. They have families who welcome them. I'm pretty sure they have a well-established system for seeing who would agree to receive the assistance.
Right.
And that's, of course, part of it. Picking olives, we were talking about it as we were driving there, and we're sharing, all of us, we're sharing the anecdotes. Across the road or from my synagogue, or where we are, there's a group of olive trees that have become part of a parkland area. But the ones adjoining the street, one family every year comes for the olive harvest. It's in a public land on a public park, and nobody argues that possibly was their family grove many generations ago, but it's accepted that they come and harvest those olives, and other people don't come and harvest those olives. So part of the story of olive groves is also that sense of families coming, doing it together, doing it on their ancestral land. And just again, to illustrate when Khalid said, my crop this year isn't enough to be commercial, but I'm going to distribute it amongst my family members. That aspect of the olive harvest is important too. It's the social aspect of family land, families working together, families doing it together. Also, Khalid shared with us a couple of stories about people mixing in non-pure olive oil and trying to market the olive oil, and so their particular town of Batir is the reputation of the town stands on the fact that their olive oil is pure olive oil. And if you buy a product from there, you're not going to be given anything that's watered down in any way. So there's those sorts of things going on as well. So to answer your question directly, today we were in the grove of a particular family, but it's not the only family with whom we or our organizations with which we partner would work.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, so now it is time to move to, oh yes, Jean, hi, please unmute. You're still muted. Oh, good.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know the background at all. So as the Holy Land as such, Palestinian and Israeli is not all that big. Is there a tradition among Israelis or Jewish people about olive trees as well as Palestinians? And I have a feeling David used to do it, King David. There's something about olive trees and King David. I can't remember.
There is.
Wondering if there is.
Yes. We could spend quite a lot of time. There are several stories of olive groves and kings attempting to take over olive groves. So you have the story of the field of Navot. You can check that out, and you will find that there's a story of a family who wouldn't give up their olive groves to the royal family, even though pressure was put on them. Yes, that certainly is a very ancient tradition. Naveen actually said it in her introduction. I don't know if you remember. She said that working the olive grove was a connection also to the land, and families were it was very important to families, their family inheritance. For those of us who are studying the Talmud, the daily page of Talmud, at the moment we're studying a whole issue of inheritance. And the big issue for Jewish law was that inheritance, the land should stay in the family. And also, if you remember the Jubilee year, the land returns to the family, the connection of a family to their family field. And olives were a natural crop in this part of the world. And there are many biblical and extra biblical quotes, but very ancient from biblical period quotes about the olive, how useful it is, how many ways it can help us. And Rita mentioned this in her prayer as well. The oil gives light, the oil is edible, the fruit itself is sustaining, all these things. So yes, there's a strong tradition in this part of the world to value your olive crops. And Hannah, are you still there? Didn't you talk about a member of your family who now has an olive grove, extensive olive grove? Hannah may have dropped out because I
No,
noticed.
she's there, but she's.
Okay.
I haven't dropped out, but we have another phone call which was a bit important. I'm sorry, but I'm with you.
Yeah, you're one of your family members that has olive groves as well. Jean just does about Jewish people who like to have olive groves.
My son-in-law's father,
Yeah.
he has a lot of olive groves. I now know how many he must have because my son-in-law and daughter and 3 or 4 children went for 2 days to take off the olives. That means they've got a lot of olive groves. And that's why I wanted to go today, to show them that I'm helping the Palestinians because they live in the middle of Samaria. They're very, they're wonderful people, but they really feel that the whole of the land of Israel is Jewish and Israeli. And it embarrasses me to think like that. So I have sent all the pictures to that family, not them, but to my family. Oh dear.
There's a long tradition of olive. Thank you for asking, Jean. And yes, there's a long tradition.
My husband says it's very hard to be an olive tree in this country.
Yes, very hard to be in this country at the moment. Yes. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So now we're going to move to the prayers, and you'll see the prayers that were offered, and it was a very important part of today's event. So once again, I'll turn to Talia and ask her to share the screen. I can't hear. Is it me? No. Talia, I'm not hearing it.
Praise you and we bless you. You, the master of the universe. You have created us. You know us. You love us. You have given us the earth to live in your image and your likeness. You are the source of peace. We present to you our desire for peace, our pain in the face of war, hatred, violence, our feeling of powerlessness, our compassion for all those who suffer. We also present to you the seeds of violence that are in our hearts. We believe that everything is possible for you. We abandon ourselves into your hands with all those we love. We say to you, may your will be done, for you alone are good. You alone are holy. You alone are the way, the truth, and the life. We trust in you and we thank you for all your blessings. Amen.
Well, please sing with me because I haven't got a guitar, I haven't got a drum, I haven't got my instruments with me. But this is a song in Hebrew, Arabic, English, and French. I'm often going to sing it in French, but with all these wonderful French singers. So this is how it goes. Now it starts in Hebrew.
Perhaps I will mention that the version we're listening to is done on a phone. There is a professional recording, but we couldn't have it ready for us for today's event. And I think we're going to need to have the professional recording in order to hear these prayers. Also, Tully, I don't know whether you had or were sent my introduction to the prayers. Did you have that?
No, I don't.
Okay. So that will also come, I'm sure, in the unedited, in the professional version. Perhaps we could still continue to play and if we hear the sound of this one, it's fine. And if we
Coming
don't,
after, it might have been labeled wrong on the file.
okay.
There were 4 videos.
Okay, so let's see what we've
From
got.
the scriptures, from my heart, do unto others as you want done unto yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor as yourself. Arabic. Please forgive me, I cannot sing in Arabic, but it goes. Inani abudu ala nafsi nidakin al khalek anu khayba aduita nafsi aduita nafsi.
And you should have seen the faces of some of the Arabic speakers when Hannah prayed in Arabic. They were very touched.
So, hi, my name is Naveen, and I'm a Palestinian from East Jerusalem, also the regional director for the Alliance for Middle East Peace, which is a network of 164 peace-building organizations, and we're always inviting more members to join. And when we say peace, it actually includes Palestinians, Israelis, society, cross-border, at the regional level as well. And because we believe that peace is a popular demand, and we need to be building those bridges and humanizing them. And obviously, I'm not a sheikh. And
yes, you are.
And but I always join Qatar because you don't need to be a sheikh to be connected to God. And basically, there's 2 things that I would like to share with you today. One of them is a verse from the Quran on the occasion of picking olives, which is basically, it describes God as the light of an olive oil. And the olive oil is from a tree that is neither Western or Eastern, but it's a light that gives light to the entire universe. I think I don't know if it was shared with you, but I will read it in Arabic. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح. المصباح في زجاجة. الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية. يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار. نور على نور
يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. صدق الله العظيم. And for the prayer itself, سورة النور. اللهم آلف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام ونجنا من الظلمات إلى النور وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واجعلنا شاكرين.
I'm pastor of the German congregation in Jerusalem, and in our denomination, it's allowed that women are on the same level like men. So I'm very happy that it was possible to be part of this group today from an international point of view, to join you and to support you. Thank you for all what you're doing. And my prayer is very deep, stuff written very deep from the heart, and it's dealing with all that's what we are dealing with right now. God, you power of life, we ask you for a community and a spirit that supports us at different denominations and religions. Today we entrust you with what we cannot handle alone. We see the fear, the violence, and the speechlessness that prevails in many places. We notice that so many people are tired and helpless because they no longer know a way out. Empower us so that we realize you are the strength that holds life together. You want us as your creation to live in peace, and you have placed this hope in each of us. May you always ignite the fire of love in us. Let us not give up when things get very difficult, and keep sending your spirit upon us. We pray for strength, we pray for hope, and we pray for all those who are desperate. Keep reminding us that we are not alone, that there are others who hope and feel the same as we do. On this day, give us the strength to stand together and do what is right and helpful. Give us the strength of words of peace, even when there is so much violence around us. Give us the confidence that your strength will prevail and be stronger than anything else. Let us make a new attempt every day to bring your love into the world and trust it. We ask you for the times when we are tired and lonely. Give us other people who remind us of your strength. Amen.
Russ has put the text. Russ has put the text for, or their source for the Quranic verse there. We have two more prayer. We have another prayer from Naveen, from Sigal. Do you have that, Tali? Do you have the prayer from Sigal?
That was all I had that came through.
So unfortunately, as we said, the prayers were done later. They were recorded both on the phone and also professionally. We will share with you the rest of the prayers when they are released. But that's all we were able to share with you today from today's event. But you can see that it was very moving to have Christian, Muslim, and Jewish prayers. And as I mentioned a moment ago, when Hannah prayed in Arabic and when Naveen prayed in Arabic, the Arabic speakers were definitely touched by being part of that. And I think for most of them, it was the first time that they had been in interfaith prayers where their language of prayer was respected and they weren't asked to translate. And this is something very beautiful in praying together in Jerusalem, that we do encourage people to pray authentically in their own prayer. But for today's gathering, I think that we are going to come to a slightly earlier close, which is fine, by spending, if we could go to gallery view, please, Tali. Let's see everybody together. I didn't see that Fadwa, is Fadwa there? Have you seen her, Fadwa, come in, Tali? No. So what we will do, sorry, my view is not yet gallery view. I don't know how to do it, doesn't matter. You're seeing gallery view. So we are together. We are together in our prayers. We're together in each other's hearts. And the important thing is that we are here together to support each other. Today was the first time, and what I did say in my introductory remarks, which you'll see when we have the professional video, was that Praying Together in Jerusalem, which was founded now 9 years ago, when Russ and I started with other partners as well, but when we first talked about it, we said, when people come together to pray, we say prayer is an action. Prayer is doing something. You know, people say to you, what are you doing for Middle East peace? And if you say we're praying, they say, oh, you're not doing anything. But we actually believe that prayer is doing. Prayer is activism. And that was the basis of Praying Together in Jerusalem, that it does make a difference when we pray together. On the other hand, today, the physical activism, going out and making our bodies be part of our prayer, our hands and our feet, and as Hannah said, our legs, you know, the praying with everything we do, the activism feeding into our prayers, and the prayers inspiring our activism, that interconnectivity between what we say, what we believe, and what we do was a very powerful expression of, I think, Praying Together in Jerusalem. It was the first time that we have taken ourselves beyond learning and praying together to actually doing together. And I think it's something that we will do again. But I don't want to in any way undermine the importance of our shared learning and shared praying. And I do believe, and I know Russ, I'm seeing him nod, I know he agrees, that prayer is a form of activism. But so is silence a form of activism. And I'd like to invite us to spend a few moments in silence with each other, just being in each other's presence and knowing that that too is powerful. It's great honor and pleasure to be with each and every one of you. You are our community. We give strength to each other. You certainly give strength to me, and I know everybody feels the same. I learned a trick. I don't know if I've shared it yet with Praying Together in Jerusalem. But if you take your hands and put them so they're on the edge of the screen, you can feel like you're touching hands with one another. It's a very lovely exercise. And I'd like to feel that we're in touch with one another in ways that really matter. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our community. I noticed there were a couple of people who came in late and may not have realized that we've moved on to winter time, which is an hour earlier. And there is a reason for that, because when we are physically together in the evenings, we get some power from being together as the sun is setting. And that is the appropriate time for evening prayers in many of our faiths. So that's why we had a different time in summer than in winter. And so we have moved to the earlier hour through the winter months. And so we hope that you will join us again. We will have a meeting in December. We'll actually have 2 meetings in December. The normal first Thursday of December will be just a regular gathering where we will have a teacher and we will learn together and pray together. At the end of December, we will have our Hanukkah Christmas gathering. It will be at the Conservative Centre, as it has been. It's become almost a tradition to be there. You are all invited to Jerusalem to join us in person. And we will have teachers, and we will have some celebration, and we will have some thoughts. And that will be instead of a January gathering. So there'll be 2 in December. There won't be a gathering in January. And we will then move to the first Thursday of the month from February onwards. So I look forward to seeing you on the first Thursday of December. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for everything you will do in your own lives to bring peace to this world. Thank you again. And thanks to Tali for everything you did today in such a rush to make sure we could do this. Harishi. Thanks, Tali.
All right. Bye.